Welcome to the Graybeard Chronicles podcast. Your hosts, Brian Halstead and Kevin Harkins, are two gray-bearded patriots who love God, their family and friends, and their country. The Graybeards are here to inspire, inform, and educate you on a myriad of topics they are passionate about. Brian and Kevin have a strong desire to share this with you to help you live your best life. Sit back and enjoy this amazing podcast as the Graybeards pass along the wisdom of the ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. I'm Brian Halstead.
And I'm Kevin Harkins.
And Kevin, we're here to pass along some wisdom of the ages. What the heck does that mean?
We're not perfect, but we do have gray beards. And that means we've got some significant life experience, some life lessons, and some perspectives that are worthy of passing along.
Well, I think that sums it up nicely. Let's get to it.
Kevin, what's going on, man? Good to see you.
Good morning on a bright Sunday morning.
Yeah, 2 Sundays in a row we're doing this,
Good to see you.
Gotta make adjustments. Yeah, gotta make adjustments based on presence required elsewhere.
You're looking good. You're it's all working for you again today.
Well, thank you. I washed it this morning, so it's a little under control now.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that you do that on occasion.
Yeah, I gotta take it to the pet wash every now and then. Get that thing up.
That's probably a whole thing. Yeah, I would imagine. I haven't had to deal with that. I just, shower normally.
Gotcha. Well, you have the opportunity. You just got to let it keep growing.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, well, I like your topic today.
I think it's a cool topic.
Yeah.
It's something worthy of discussion, and I think it could go in a few different directions, actually. So it'll be interesting. I'm interested to see what direction you take with it.
Yeah, I was pleased to get it. It's something that actually I've thought a good bit about over the years, and so it was right in a wheelhouse that I was not unfamiliar with. So I look forward to it. Tell me what it is and what you were thinking.
So the title of this discussion this morning is "Practice Makes Perfect," or does it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting concept to think about, because is perfection the target? I mean, we've talked about that before, and how people often get stalled in their tracks or never accomplish things because perfection is what they're shooting for, when in all actuality they might need to change the target, and they'll realize a whole lot more, many more accomplishments as a result. So I think while there's 2 different areas to talk about here. So the aspect of practicing and whether or not that's beneficial, and then the whole perfection thing, because I think that that practice doesn't necessarily make perfect, because I think perfect is an unrealistic target. I think practice creates proficiency in whatever it is that you're doing, potentially, as long as you're practicing correct. I'm sure you've also heard the phrase "perfect practice makes perfect." If you continue to practice wrong, then you're not going to have the gain in proficiency that you could. I just I want to have that mental pushback on the whole perfection thing. Perfection is the enemy of getting shit done.
Yeah. You're kind of all over the place this morning.
I know, it's bouncing around. Well, you asked me what I was thinking. Welcome to my head.
Welcome to your head. Interesting. I did not even. What you said makes perfect sense about perfection should not be the target, because nobody's perfect, and you're never going to get there. And so that's a good point. I hadn't thought of it. I didn't take that aspect, but I do believe, and I say it all the time, perfect is the enemy of good enough. In fact, I say it every week, multiple times, when I'm talking to people about, because I work with some people who are perfectionists,
Right.
and they'll, it's that, what do they call the hockey stick curve? So things are getting better, and it requires a level of effort that's, kind of normal. But
Right.
if you want to take it to the highest level, the amount of effort that you have to put in has to go way up. So to go from 90% to 100% in terms of what you're looking for, that extra 10% of gain toward perfection takes tremendous amount of work. So yes, I'm agreeing with you on that. Perfect is the enemy of good enough. But for me, that's not.
Wait. You just erased the whole thing. You said but.
And there's an additional factor I would like to add to it.
All right.
I think the spirit of the comment is not for people to try to achieve perfection.
Right.
I think it's if you change the phrase to practice makes you better. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's where I said, practice improves proficiency, and I absolutely agree with that. And I think you're right. The spirit of it is that right? By doing things and practicing things, you get better at them. I just wanted to attack the word perfection or perfect.
Okay. So, but then I wanted to dig into that other aspect that you just said. Does practice make you better?
Only, well, again, if you're doing it right. So, I mean, if you're continuing to practice wrong and develop bad habits or not quite understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish, no, it's probably not going to make you any better. It might make you better at doing it wrong, but it's not necessarily going to improve your proficiency. And you might have to, I don't know, engage outside counsel or depending upon what it is, right? You might need a coach to help you.
Yeah, that's it.
I heard somebody say that, I was talking about firearms proficiency,
mm-hmm.
and the importance of, going to the range and practicing. And while I think that is absolutely important, I also believe that once you get the fundamentals down, that you can still effectively put rounds on target if you don't pick up a gun again for, I don't know, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. It's like that the old saying of riding a bicycle, right? You don't forget how to ride the bicycle. You get back on. You might be a little rusty with it, but I think like firearms proficiency in general, if you want to be the guy that puts 5, 10, 15 rounds in a quarter size hole at 15 yards, then yeah, that's going to take some time and effort to maintain that level of proficiency. Do you need to, go to the range once a week to be able to effectively defend yourself in a deadly force encounter? I would argue no. That once you have the ingrained subconscious reactive measures that you've trained over and over again, that's going to happen, whether it's you don't train again for 6 months or a year. And I'm not undermining the idea of training, because I certainly believe in that. The comment that was made the other day in this conversation was, I own when comparing the whole firearms thing, was I have screwdrivers. Now, I don't go out to the garage and grab my screwdriver and go screw a screw in and unscrew a screw just to practice. And
yeah,
it's a great example, right?
It is a great example. Yeah, that's a good point. And I think you're right. Just like you said about the bike, that's not something that you forget to do. But yeah, if you're trying to reach the highest level of proficiency, you have to practice. And circling back to the point that started this line of discussion, you have to practice the right way, the right things. Right. You need feedback. You have to practice with intention. There's so many examples, and one of them that I think about, and this is what a lot of people do, they're wondering, why won't my golf game improve? Why do I just keep it's because
talking about me.
You went right there. I never mentioned you. I just was talking in general. No, but I mean, if your grip is wrong, or if you start your backswing incorrectly, or if you're moving your head all over the place as you're, and all those things, and you can keep doing those. You can go to the range and do that for 3 hours, and guess what? You keep doing the same thing.
Right. Or if
Because
you only play once or twice a year,
that
how do you expect to gain any level of proficiency in doing that?
Yeah, so the point that I really would like to, remind myself of, and remind anybody who might be listening, is practice does make you better, but you need to do it with intention and purpose and feedback, so that when the feedback comes into you, you make the adjustments necessary to improve the skill, the knowledge, whatever it is that you're trying to improve, so that you're not just, it's like a bad habit. All of us, most of us, I'm sure maybe there's probably a few people, have bad habits of some sort, one or another. And you just keep doing the bad habit. Guess what it does? It leads to the sort of the slow downward spiral of, ultimately you're going to, in some way, crash and burn as a result of that bad habit. And I don't mean catastrophic, life ending. I mean, it's going to get to the point where you go, wow, this just ain't working for me anymore. This bad habit that I'm engaged in is not helpful. And so I need to really seriously stop doing what I'm doing and start practicing something different. Replace the bad habit with a good habit.
Right.
Because it's really hard to stop bad habits by just saying, doggone it, I'm going to stop that bad habit. It just doesn't work. You have to replace it.
Yeah, you replace it with some other activity, some other habit, better habit.
Right.
Yeah, and I think you also have to decide whether or not whatever you're talking about as far as increasing your level of proficiency, what's the importance of it? Is it a critical skill? Is it something that you need to invest time and energy in to increase that level of proficiency, or is it something that is just a luxury to have, but it's not essential, and it really is not going to affect your life positively or negatively if you don't increase your proficiency in it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does make sense.
Focus on the things that you need to engage in, to accomplish your daily life in a successful way, and work on spending time improving those things.
Yep. I like the screwdriver metaphor, by the way. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was ultimately the inspiration for this conversation.
Okay.
Was that conversation about the whole screwdriver? I own screwdrivers, and I don't go grab that screwdriver and pick it up and tighten a screw and then loosen a screw just to because how to and I think that speaks to level of mastery, right? So there's some things that once you know how to do it, you just know how to do it. You don't need to go learn how to do it again. You don't need to continue to practice every day to be able to do it.
Right.
You just know how to do it.
Yeah.
And for some people, there's a list of things that fall into that category, and for because they have that level of ability to master many things like that. And then there's others that don't, and will have to work at skills like that, whatever the skill may be, regularly, just to maintain any level of proficiency.
Yeah. And in those more complex parts of life where there's so many dynamic variables that are not as simple as screwing a screwdriver, turning a screwdriver, things like, let's say, for example, somebody wants to improve the way that they lead or manage at work. That gets complicated, because you're dealing with every single person that you're dealing with has a different personality, has different drives, has different motivations, has different ways of working. And you, as a leader or a manager, want to improve your skills. How do you connect with those kind of people? Because the way you connect with Bob is not the same way you connect with Sally, because they have completely different interests.
Right.
And so you're constantly having and there are ways you can study, you can talk, you can attend courses that will help you. That's where the point that started out with, and I want to hammer it home, practice does make you better. Practice does make you perfect. When you have intention, as you often say, do something with intention,
right,
then you're gonna do it right. You are gonna practice right, and you are gonna get the feedback that you need, and you are going to improve that thing that you're trying to improve. But if you're just gonna show up every day and go to work and think you're gonna get better just by showing up every day and go to work, you're not.
No.
Yeah, you have to you have to proceed. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think there's something that comes before the intent, and that in my mind is desire. Right? You have to have the desire to want to improve in that area, and understand that it's valuable or not. Right? So you have to do that evaluation, because you might feel like, in your particular scenario, whoever you are that's listening to this or watching this, you might feel like improving your leadership and management skills aren't going to move the needle for you. That's not something you need to work on.
Right.
So why spend time doing that? And then there's many of us that would argue, a counter argument to that, but
Right.
still, it's what you value. How is it going to move the needle for you? Is it something that is going to improve your quality of life, improve your performance or earning ability? It might turn out to be something that's really not worth your time to work on, and you need to focus on something else. Right? It's the whole strength versus weaknesses conversation. Spend time working on your strengths, not your weaknesses, unless it's a critical weakness and you have to have some level of mastery.
Well said. Well said. So it was great. It was great. Thank you for the refresher. It actually made me think about some areas of my life that I want to go back and improve upon, and that's why I love doing these conversations, is because it just reminds you of things in life, and it just makes me personally want to improve. So thank you.
Outstanding. I appreciate you saying that. And I know that rowing, right, for fitness and well-being, that rowing is something that you've communicated that you want to get better at, spend more time doing, and so on. So can you speak to that for a minute?
Yeah, I can. Rowing is amazing. I mean, the nice thing about rowing is that it's like a full body workout. I mean, it's just there's no getting around it. I mean, you're using your arms, you're using your legs, you're using your butt, you're using your shoulders, you're using all of it, and it's a really, really good exercise.
I'm headed to rowing class here in just a few minutes. You want to join me there?
I got some stuff to do this morning.
And I know I'm putting you on the spot because we already had this conversation before we started recording, but I'm just having fun.
Good. It's all good. Yes.
All right. So I will say this in summary, that, the whole question of whether or not practice makes perfect, I think the answer to that is no, it does not, because perfect is unattainable.
But practice does make you better.
Agreed.
Practicing the right way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Prove proficiency, providing you practice correctly.
Right. Okay. Well, good.
All right. Well, because we're having technical difficulties, I have no physical button to reach over here and push this morning. I'll end up plugging this in some other way to close this out. But
no matter who you are, where you are, what you do, make sure between this podcast and the next, you take time to enjoy the ride.
I've been replaced. That's awesome. Well done, sir. Well done.
Wow, that just sort of happened.
Yeah, it was like a subconscious thing. It just, somebody flipped a switch and boom, there you were.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Well, I'll work that in there somehow.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. Please subscribe so you'll receive notification when new episodes are available. To learn more about the Graybeards, visit their website, graybeardchronicles.com.